So why does GMM use nonsense words like alibers and naxvips? What are they? Why are they there?
Well, there's a number of reasons. Let's start with um, my context, where in Pennsylvania we had a ninth grade algebra standardized test at the end of the year, given by the state, and inevitably kids would get hung up by reading. So they would understand the math concepts. They understood the dynamics of algebra as a relationship. They could think through mathematically all kinds of cool stuff. But when they were faced with a paragraph, they would get stymied. And even worse, they would hit words they didn't recognize, names that were strange to them, and that would throw them off. They kind of had that sense that they had to understand everything before they could think mathematically. So part of me putting those weird words in was just sort of a strategy for helping them to acclimate to seeing weird words. Like it's okay. Like there can be strange names, and you can not know something and still think mathematically. And that actually segues to the second part of my answer, which is, remember, I was an algebra teacher and I was trying to move kids from the concrete to the abstract. So in like third grade, you might do a problem with, I don't know, pencils, and you're saying, you had some pencils, you bought some more pencils, and now you have this many pencils, and you're thinking about pencils. And I mean, I love students, even younger students. They're on the floor like with bundles of straws, like it's very very concrete. But right there around eighth, ninth grade, you're trying to move to expressing relationships in this abstract fashion with variables. And in a way, those nonsense words were also strategically intended to lift kids a little bit past the concrete and into the realm of the abstract. So I realize that's a very sort of algebra specific answer, but we intend to use those words more in the pre-algebra algebra zone. So when you look at our fifth grade content, you should not see, except for perhaps for names, you shouldn't really see nonsense words. You'll see cars and trucks and things that go. You won't see nags, vips, or yoys. But you start to look at algebra and you will. And that's why you'll see them in some sections of our skills and not in others. So those are two of the probably the driving reasons. There, it turns out there's several others. One other major one, perhaps the last of the triad, is so designing problems. You want to give kids a sense of connection and reality. So you want them to have sort of a sense of like this is a real thing. And yet it turns out like real problems, like genuine, everyday, like algebraic relationships are really sophisticated. Do you know, like you're gonna have a monetary transaction. Well, what about the tax, or what about interest, or what? Like, there's all these like weird vectors that make real world problems are actually quite complex. So generally speaking, in math classes, when we do something that's like real world, it's not. It's like fake real world. It feels real worldsy, but it's not. And those words kind of help do that. They turn a problem into something that feels like it's sort of a real thing, but it simplifies and it makes us able to present the sort of the underlying mathematical concept without too much overlay of extra sort of math ideas or math skills.
That's helpful. I remember word problems when I was doing math and somehow getting to a point where I had like 3.5 cars. Like, how many of them? It was just that funny
Well,
disconnect between the
that's
concrete.
that is a great that is what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So then too, there's just the amusement factor for me. This is not important, but it turned out, and this was not my intention. Largely, it became a funny thing. Like a kid would be like, "What's a yoy?" And I'm just saying, "You don't know what a yoy is?" You know. So that I had some fun with that. It turned out like it became kind of this big funny joke. I thought sometime we should have a Get More Math competition, like an art competition, where all of our students can submit like art for all the weird things. Like, what is a Nagsvip? You know, kids would draw them for me, by the way. I mean, I wish I saved them. A lot of creative, fun stuff.